Good morning, South Florida.
And welcome to the Brooklyn Cafe Morning Show.
Grab your coffee as we brew up the talk of the day.
From the latest scoop around town
to feel-good stories and messages of hope.
A few jokes and live calling.
Highlighting local businesses.
Discussing hot trends and news stories.
A dash of feel-good nostalgia.
I love those morning cartoons.
Keeping up with upcoming events.
Sometimes trying delicious foods.
Weekly horoscope updates.
An occasional flying duck.
Some sparkle dust.
Don't forget my bell.
And my wand.
With our brew crew laughing on set.
So grab your coffee, your bagel, donut, or any breakfast as we get you up and ready for the rest of your day.
And don't leave us hanging. Here is a follow. Comment live or call right into the show at 888-994-4995 Studio B.
Whether it's a tip of the day or just to say good morning, we'd love to hear from you.
From Amp Media Production Studio, it's
the Brooklyn Cafe Morning Show. Freddie, you have to get up. We've got a morning show to do.
Just give me 5 more minutes. Where'd I put my hat?
Come on, Freddie. You don't have time. Get out of bed.
I can never find my hat when I need it.
We'll get the hat at the studio. Let's go. Pour yourself some coffee and get to the studio because it's time for the morning show.
Now, where's my bell?
Welcome to the morning show with Dawn and Freddie S., the South Florida show that everyone's talking about.
Welcome to the morning show.
What would you rather Wednesday? I got a whole lot of would you rathers.
You know something? Let that go. Listen, this show is as heard on 95.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 95.9 FM. 106.9 FM, 104.3 HD3, 104.7 HD3, and 107.4 HD3. That's 7 radio stations. And it doesn't really matter what anybody thinks or says. Been doing it for over 20 years. You've been on this with me for almost 10 years. And the bottom line is that when people podcast and they go on to a website, you got to go look for them. With me, you just have to turn your car radio on after 6, and you're going to hear us. So it really doesn't matter what anybody says. And for those of you who don't know who we are.
Morning.
Dawn and I have been doing the morning show now for about 4 years. And if you don't know who we are, you should keep your mouth shut and not complain and criticize. Because the bottom line is we bring the morning show for humor. We bring it so that you laugh. We don't do politics on the show because, to be honest with you, outside those doors, they ain't getting it right either. They get it all messed up. So pardon our French, as they say. We're not here to bother you. If you don't like it, you can turn it off. We're here to entertain you.
Morning.
We do a lot of that. It's just the way we do the morning show is the way we do the morning show. And everybody has an opinion, and we let them speak it. So before you criticize, get to know us a little bit before you go down that road.
Anyway, good morning to you. What's some nice levity on a Wednesday morning?
That's there's an old saying, the less you know, the better.
Someone say some mean things.
It doesn't matter.
You know what? People judge without knowledge.
Yeah.
It's one thing to judge if you know the situation. It's another thing to judge if you know nothing about the situation. And then I'm like, you know what? You should walk in somebody else's shoes just for a moment to understand what everyone's going through. Or not, and hold your judgment.
That way we can put you on the camera.
She's always happy.
She is. Well, she's what do you call when
Mona
you're
Lisa's tired? Tired? You okay over there?
Yeah, where is your spare tire?
What?
Mr. Gio.
Why is that her spare tire?
Because
that is not her plight.
Something must have happened last night because everybody's late. And normally this has to do with something you guys were talking about last night.
No, we got off at our normal time. Like, I went to bed at my usual time.
I just called him.
Well,
I woke him up.
What's your usual time for bed?
10.
Okay, not too bad.
30, yeah.
Well, Gio's still sleeping. So I woke him up because the A10 wasn't connected. He
probably didn't go to bed till 4 a.m. That's when he goes to bed.
That's insane.
And I'm like, bro, get some sleep. Go to bed at an early time. And I was like, you're going to go to bed early tonight after we all got off? He goes, Probably not.
All right, so you're in the whole gaming.
Yes.
What game are you guys playing?
We're playing Phasmophobia. It's a ghost hunting
Oh,
game.
I know what that is.
Remember him talking about it.
Yeah.
And what is that like?
The mic's right in front of my face. Huh?
What is that? It's all.
So you're literally just hunting for ghosts. So you go to different houses. There's like schools, jails, different areas, and
It's
you
like
have
ghost
all the
hunters.
equipment, and you have to
So you
figure out
did that
what
last
ghost
night?
it is based off of like the findings that you're
Did you
seeing.
do
They
that
don't
last
physically
night?
go. It's a game.
It's a game.
Oh.
It's a video game. We're gonna be physically going. Remember, St. Augustine. That's our first bit. But yeah,
Do you still have that Geiger counter?
Geiger counter. Why do you have a
EMF.
Geiger
I
counter?
wish you didn't tell them that.
Why?
Yes.
Well, Geiger counter is different than EMF.
Yeah,
It's an EMF counter.
Okay.
Yeah, EMF is electromagnetic field, whereas Geiger is more about radiation.
Yeah.
Okay. He's got an EMF ghost finder.
Right, and then there's
Why didn't you tell us
EVP,
this? You
which
gotta bring it in,
is
Freddie.
That's
Come
why.
on. Please
there's
bring it in.
EVP, which is
It was on my
electric voice
phone.
phenomenon.
Oh.
I have a down thing, and I brought it in here when I came from St. Augustine. And I turned it on, and there was a ghost in the house, and it was talking to us. So I got rid of it.
Oh, made you,
Why
spooked you out?
Don't you think it's still talking to you?
Because people don't know how to handle that.
No, they don't.
Well, it's also used for measuring electrical fields in electrical conduits and stuff too.
Yeah, because it'll go off by like an outlet or a light source or something.
Except
like
when it says, I am here. Listen to me.
But then there's also
But
the
that's not an
spirit
EMF.
box. Which,
Yeah.
All right, so let me ask you a question. Would you rather hear the ghost or see the ghost?
that. See it.
Why not both?
Both for sure, but
I-
see it 100%.
I think it's easier to hear it than it is to see it.
Yeah,
It's
but when
easier,
you see
yes,
it,
but
you
I'd
don't
rather
know-
see it.
You can clearly see it, but if you hear it, you don't know if it's like you're going crazy.
Yeah, but if you see, you don't know if you're going crazy
Your
either.
mind can still play tricks on you regardless, but
Yeah,
I
it was-
like to see things in like a physical
She
form.
sees things in the studio.
First of all, I was
Yeah.
married twice, so that thing about playing tricks on your mind, that happens all the time.
Yeah, that reminds me of this comedian.
Would you rather see or hear, Michael, the ghost?
Well, I would actually like to ask it questions.
So you would need to hear it for the answers.
Yeah.
You see things in the studio too?
Yeah, I'm at
That's why I
home.
got rid of it.
It's like more recent. I don't know. I'm tapping into something. I don't know how I am, but I am. But
Does
recently,
anyone-
I've been like seeing things, and I don't.
Everywhere or just here?
I've seen it here. I've seen it in my house, and I was at a friend's house once and I saw it, but that's about it.
See what?
Just like, I guess I could say like shadow figures almost.
Dark figure?
They're just like dark.
Always at the corner of your eye, and then you
Not
look.
even. I've seen it like almost in front of me too.
So what's it look like?
It's just a shadow.
And what's
It's
it
not like I wouldn't say I've seen anything that resembles like fully of like a human figure, but it's just like a blob.
I've seen that too.
Just a blob.
You see it here too?
Not here.
Oh, grab a mic.
Yeah, grab a mic. Like in general, like I've seen. But I've seen like shadowy figures.
Here or just in general?
Just in general, and
Yeah.
like I'm a very spiritual person,
Yeah.
so I do believe like we have like those type of spirits just roaming lost souls that can't go like either to hell or heaven, as some say. So they're just roaming the earth, waiting on judgment. So I've seen it, but I don't really trip because I'm just like, whatever.
I'm trying not to trip because I'm like, okay,
Right.
bye now. I don't know who you are, what you are, if you are anything, but
And what do you do when
I'll
you
just
see
freak
it?
out. Huh?
What do you do when you see it?
I just half the time I just like shake it off. I'm like, oh, I just saw something. Okay.
Yeah.
Because if I start to think about it and like be like, oh my god, something is here with me, then I'll go to a spiral out.
Yeah. It's like a
That's why I got
jump
rid
scare.
of the counter, because I knew that as soon as these guys got a hold of that, they
Yeah.
would start running around.
And I'm not ready to entertain it either. Like, I feel like if I were to start entertaining whatever I'm seeing, then I might invite something or allow some sort of energy to come into me, and I don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what
Yeah.
has you guys playing the game, because you see entities. Does anybody else know?
I love like horror video games, so I play those a lot. But now we were like, oh, we should play together because we hadn't played the game yet, and now we do that, and yeah, it's pretty.
I
fun.
don't know if anyone else sees. Do you, Professor, ever see things in here or anywhere?
Not in here. I thought I've seen things before, but I like said I kind of shake it off, because to entertain it is to go down a rabbit hole real fast.
Yeah.
But you do acknowledge you see things.
Plausible deniability.
Well, I had something like that happen to me. For a little bit of a context, I used to spend the summers with my grandparents up in rural Pennsylvania. I used to collect praying mantises as a kid, which he always thought was funny because he lived his whole life, never saw one. Within 2 days, I captured like 10, right? So after he passed, we're having a remembrance party at our house in Atlanta, and my mom tells me to go out to the garage to get this candy sampler that my dad's family. As I'm coming back in the garage, we see something scuttling across the floor.
It's a praying mantis.
Oh.
And so my mom goes, I'm not a superstitious person. The fact that Mike found one of those today when we're all doing, that's the closest I could say to a sign.
100%.
Absolutely.
They were there with you. I love
Absolutely.
that.
This is going back over 20 years ago, and there was somebody on what is it? Swipe left, swipe right.
Mm-hmm.
One of those things.
Plenty of
Like
fish
the
you
dating
right?
apps?
I don't know what it was. It's some app. And there was this lady from New Rochelle, New York. And she sent me a picture in front of her house. And I noticed that there was something in the windows. She had those box windows. And I blew it up and I said to her, you have something in your house.
There's someone in your house.
So she says, you know something? I just moved here. You're 100% right. There are things missing. There's lights going on and off. There's stuff in the... She says, can you come up and help me? Now, what the hell? I said, sure, fly me up and I'll go help you. She sent me a round trip ticket. So I go up to New Rochelle and I said to her, we got a problem. And we went to this old church and we got some holy water. And we went downstairs to her basement. And there's a locked room down there. And we put a pot of holy water with a candle, a white candle that took forever to find in New Rochelle. Locked it with a lock. And we went upstairs. The next day, we came down at the same time, 12 o'clock midnight. We go downstairs. We unlock it. And the pot and the candle are gone.
No way. Really?
Now, you explained to me how. She looked at me and she said, can we go to church? I said, yeah, we went to church and we did whatever. She came back and to today, she says, there's
Did
no
you ever
more.
find where it was or no?
I
You
wasn't,
didn't even bother.
So
I wasn't
they were
looking for
gone?
where it was. I was looking at how to help it leave.
Did they leave?
I
Did it
don't know.
leave?
You tell me.
I don't know. I was not there.
The
Does she-
thing was gone. It was
does she-
gone. It wasn't there. I put it there. It wasn't there.
Does she still see things?
She says the house is clean.
Okay.
This house is clean.
I don't have any house
But he's
is
a
clean. It's
Ghostbuster.
just a matter of how you live in symbiosis with whatever else is living there. If
I
everyone could
definitely
just
think like spirits can travel. So yeah, like it doesn't matter even if your house hadn't had like anyone pass away there. It's not built on anything sketchy. I think a spirit can still attach itself to you and follow you, or just travel from place to place.
I think that's the reason why we have what we have going on around us. Spirits always attach
Probably.
themselves.
Well, I mean, if you think about like I do, that there's like two types of haunting. There's intelligent and residual. Intelligence, you ask it a question, you get a response. Residual, it's like playing the same tape over and over again. But the person that it was, there must have been some tragedy in their life that they haven't been able to reconcile, and that's why they're still tied to that place.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes the logical is the illogical. There was a lady I dated in Long Island. I went to her house and we sat in her living room and she says, watch. And I says, watch for what? Just watch. And the chairs in the kitchen would move. They go, just slide across. I said, I think I had enough. It was nice meeting you. I gotta
how do you find these people? How do they find you?
My grandparents lived in a really, really active house. Like, I don't know much because I've only heard stories of it. I wasn't alive then. But there was one house in particular where they heard, like, if they were downstairs, upstairs, they'd hear, like, loud footsteps. Like, if someone were wearing boots, it would be like that, and it would be just walking around the house all the time. And doors would close, things like that.
When I moved
Yeah.
into my house on Hollywood,
Actually, I saw this YouTube video of like this screaming coming from a hotel room. The guys went in and
hold your mic.
and when they went in, they saw this white mist go through the wall, and they go in there. All the lights are on, the whole carpet's torn up, but the door was locked.
When I bought my house in Hollywood, and I was standing at the door. Now you gotta understand, I was 21, and I bought my first house, and I was the first Santori that bought his first house. So I looked around and says, "Wow, this is pretty cool. Then I hear chains,
Oh, jeez.
and I hear babies crying.
Oh, goodness.
So I go upstairs. Now the attic at that time was not redone. I redid the attic, and it was windy and whispery and everything. And there was a crib up there. I said, "What the hell?" So I brought somebody to the house, a spiritual person, and she says to cleanse the house. Somebody died in here, a child died in here, and it's still here. And they're changing here into this bondage. And I said, "What? What?" Now I couldn't tell my ex-wife come in and hear this with me, because she would have divorced me that day and she would have ran out of there like her hair was on fire. So we went through a lot of changes to clean. And then, see, people don't understand that the reason that I changed that house, I transformed 99% of that house, was because of it. Because I didn't want it to come back. I wanted to let it go and let it. I redid my house from the top to the basement to the garage
To let
to
it
the
move
back.
on.
Like, this isn't your place anymore.
That's right, and it worked.
Crazy.
But isn't
So
that
it's so
scary
fascinating
to know like spirits still roam, because it's like unhealed trauma that they still have.
It's sad.
Yeah, and that's why I advocate for people to go out there and find the help that you need, because when you're dead and gone, you're dead and gone. Like, nobody can heal you but yourself.
I
Like,
You think
mean-
that's what the spirits are? People who have unhealed traumas that just linger?
I mean,
That's
what's it?
interesting.
Christmas Carol talks about that a bit.
Really?
So remember when the Marley comes and says, you know, I forged this as the way of life, but it's that if he does not go upon the world, he's condemned to do so in death.
I believe that we try to understand death, and we sort of make it so that we can understand it in our own world, but
We'll never understand.
sometimes it's not meant for you to understand, just to accept it. We're here. We're not the only beings in this universe, and the universe goes all the way to whatever.
Yeah.
And we're not alone. We've never been alone. And I think that the bottom line here is that we have a hard enough time understanding life. Forget about trying to understand that.
Has anybody ever had dreams of future events that actually play out like the dream?
So what's the difference between that and deja vu? Did it happen or did it not happen?
I have that happen occasionally.
Do you remember the meeting we had with the landlord in the lobby, and I told him I had a dream about this building? And here we are.
Yes, we were decided between two locations, and you had the dream about the yellow building. 100%.
Interesting.
It happens sometimes. Sometimes you get a calling on a dream, and you have to sort of work with that calling. And Dawn's always making fun that I've had a lot of jobs, and there's always a reason why. A calling is not a one-page book. A
You
calling
think
is-
everyone has a calling?
Sure.
And when does
Yes.
the calling? When does the calling start? When you're born? Before
Ask-
birth?
Ask her.
You have a calling?
She doesn't know it. Or does she?
I mean, I know I have a calling. Everyone has a calling. But I don't think the time in which we realize our calling is the same for everyone. Because everyone's at different stages of their life, and God has a different plan for everyone. So, yeah, my calling in particular, I'm not exactly sure. I have dreams and things that I want to do, but I don't know if
Well, that's what you have to
calling is.
figure out. A calling is figuring it out.
So you think your calling is you're born with the calling?
I-
Like, is
Or
it
you're called to
It depends.
is your spirit
It depends.
blessed with what it is?
People say that in the spirit world, you pick your calling, you pick your path. You go to the library of knowledge, I think is what one of the religions calls it, and you pick, and you pick. I don't put too much time to understand it anymore. I'm done with that. I'd rather just play it out and go from point A to point B, and I see what I have to do. I understand what's entailed to do it. I understand the being upset about the things that don't work out when you're trying to get there. But I also light up when somebody has a dream, or somebody sees things, or people say it does exist, and they pay attention. Because if you don't pay attention, that's a different story.
But you never ask questions as to why.
Why should I?
I ask a million questions.
Why?
Why?
But why are you
Because
going to ask a question something that doesn't have an answer?
It's because we always, as humans, we always try to understand things.
So you're
Things
here-
that we can't
But are you
comprehend.
here to answer the questions or to ask the reason why? Do you want to go through your life not understanding why, or maybe trying to fill out the answer?
Well, there are lots of things I've accepted I'm never going to know the answer on, and I just accept that.
Okay, there's nothing wrong
So
with
it's
that.
not like I'm going to spend my entire life looking for the answer, for example, like what we were just talking about. No. because I know I'm never going to get that.
But it
that
shapes you as an
definitive answer.
individual of who you are.
100%, because you're going to learn from those experiences.
And
So-
then all of a sudden, you're at a different level, and people then want to join that level, and that's the first teaching.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, we have the second teaching. And then you have your third teaching. And as you get older in life, and there are children involved, and there are more complications in your life involved, and you're going to remember those days when everybody said to you, you can't. And you said, but I did. And a lot of things change.
Don't you feel that, like, in life, because we're older than they are, you're first learning who you are in your teens, 20s. By 30s, you're like, okay, I think I know who I am. And you go for it. And the next thing you know, you're having grandchildren, and you can't say anything of anything you learned before, because now it's up to their parents to raise them. And you can't even impart
But
your
you
knowledge.
watch your work through your kids.
Well,
But do you?
Sure.
Because you're still learning when you're raising your kids.
Man, when I was your age, I was more lost than you guys.
yeah, my mom says, I wish I could go back to school now that I've had kids, because I've learned so much through them.
Yeah, I mean, you learn from your mistakes.
True.
But when I went to NYU, I was so freaking lost. I had this proper college education, so I was supposed to I was supposed to take the A train with the New York Times under my arm. That wasn't me, but I had to do that because I went to NYU. And then when I used to hang out with my boys in the Bronx, I used to throw away the newspaper and just be one of them. But I was a bigger knucklehead than all these guys. Me?
I believe
You
that.
kidding? It was Party Town City. And then the charge was on Monday through Friday, can I bring it back to NYU? And I did that. You know how hard that was?
To
But
live
the-
a double life?
But you know
Yeah.
the one thing that I regret is that nobody ever gave me a shot at anything. Nobody said, you know something, come here, let's see if you could do this. Even Charlie Rangel didn't give me a shot. And I worked for a congressman, one of the most powerful men on the planet at the time. And he hired somebody else over me.
But that can't be your regret.
It's not a regret. It was the reality that maybe it was time to move on, right?
Oh, yeah.
Find something else.
That wasn't your
Maybe I
calling.
wasn't. Maybe my calling.
Rejection is redirection.
Well, there you go. But I didn't know that at my age. You see, you're a whole lot wiser than me.
She's pretty wise for her age. You too. A lot of you guys are. My biggest why is, why are people so hurtful to each other? I think that is my biggest why in life. Like, not who built the pyramids, because that's between them, God, and the aliens, or who did this, or who created AI, great, not great. But why is mankind, why do they not learn from past and continue to be judgmental and hurtful to others?
Right, well, because my thing is, we're really all part of the same family.
That's what I don't understand, is why do
But
people
then
continue to hurt other
why do we
people?
do this to each other when really we all come from the same source?
That's like
it's
my
just,
biggest
like,
why in life.
Instilled. Like, everyone grows up, not everyone, but those people who are hurtful are growing up with the thought that being hurtful is good. And that they saw their parents being hurtful, or this group that
Yeah,
they're
but
with being
you
hurtful and mean.
you don't have to
I'm
be
gonna
that
do
way.
that too, because it's all I know.
You think
And it's
people
all-
know they're
it's all
hurtful,
psychological.
or they just think
Well, I think
They
it's
can.
generational too.
It comes to a certain point because there's one thing if something happened during your childhood and you're a child, you don't know any better. But when you become an adult, this is where accountability steps in. Are you going to allow your trauma to keep pulling you back, or are you going to face it and move forward?
But at what age you become an adult?
Well,
That just depends on your mindset and when you're ready to become an adult. Like, I don't think nobody's ever ready to become an adult. Like, when I left
I don't
high
want to be an
school,
adult.
like, I was like, oh, like, it
Ew.
feels real. Like, it feels
Like,
real
ew.
now.
You know, you can always have
yeah,
fun
I
in
know.
life even when you're an adult.
Right.
The object of the game is that people are hurtful. And if it surprises you that they are hurtful,
it amazes me every day.
surprise!
Every day, I think I can't
Because-
believe I'm still amazed every day at the next level that people
'Cause
continue
someone
to be
can just
hurtful.
top it, like, the next
because
day and be like,
That it
whoa.
continues.
I didn't realize it can get
And
worse.
then they do it.
Exactly, yeah.
That's what amazes me every day, is people do not learn from history. They do not learn when they hurt other people, nor I think sometimes do they even care or pay attention, because they've now released what they feel is their right to say or do on
But
other
are
people.
But are people hurtful from the heart, or are they just hurtful from the mouth?
It's a
I don't know.
behavior. Yeah.
It's
To
a
learn
learned
behavior.
It's
I
all
mean,
100%. You're not born with
did you
it
guys
to be
ever see
hurtful.
the movie Encanto, the Disney film?
Hold your mic.
You've seen the movie Encanto, right?
Yes.
It's really about how generational trauma can screw up a family.
Yeah, you gotta heal your generational trauma before you continue
You
with
see,
that
but
family.
you guys have trauma down to a science. This is what I love about
See,
life
no,
today.
us
It's
girls-
because
Nobody taught us that.
we have access to being able to learn it.
Yes.
They're now recognizing what anxiety is, what depression is,
Yes.
what trauma is. They didn't have that.
It wasn't identified. Even when you and I first working
Back then,
together,
it was
it
just
wasn't
like,
even
grow up.
identified. It was just like you
Yeah,
just grow up and
you're-
deal with
stop
it.
being
Even before
sad.
your
Yeah.
generation, we were just called. They were just called witches.
Well, that's going way back,
That's-
but that's a little bit further back. But anxiety, I had anxiety. It cost me my career at NYU. But back in the day, they didn't have that word.
No.
They didn't have any of that. They wanted to send me to a shrink. They had all these. That was what do you call it when you're medically always conscious?
Medically-
What do you call that?
And
Sedated?
Hypnosis?
psychotic.
You're psychotic.
antipsychotic.
No, when you think you're always sick.
Oh,
Hypochondriac.
Hypochondriac. My doctor, Dr. Schwimmer, you rest in peace. He wrote on my chart hypochondriac. I said, what? Because I knew what that word meant. NYU, I had to know what that word
That was definitely a term, for sure, for a very long
Yes.
time.
And I said to him, this is what I got. I'm a hypochondriac. This is what he told me. Meanwhile, I would get these anxiety attacks in the middle of the day.
He wrote that down because they didn't know what anxiety
They
was.
didn't
No
know
one
what
knew
it
what it
was.
was. No one knew what traumas were.
Yeah.
Even the great quarterback from the Pittsburgh Steelers, he had it. Super Bowl day, that Sunday, he disappeared on Friday. Got on a plane, went to a different state, and was hiding in a motel. They found him because he was having an anxiety attack. He's the one that brought it forward, by the way. He's the reason why everybody understands what anxiety
Yeah.
is.
Isn't it a crazy concept that, like, back then, when you had anxiety or issues, mental illnesses, they just gave you a lobotomy? Isn't that
A
crazy?
lobotomy
crazy.
to remove the cancer
Isn't
from the
that crazy?
brain
And then they would literally, like, mentally impair you for the rest of your life
because you had anxiety.
because you had mental illness.
Do you know they did that to Sally? She had electric shock therapy because she saw things
Really?
and heard things in her house. Well, think Sally's age.
She was 40s.
You go back
She was born in the 40s,
30s.
30s.
You go back.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do? And you tell your parents you see things,
Like,
and
this
you're
girl
talking to
crazy.
people in your
They
room.
zapped her brain.
What do people do? That's exactly
Wow.
what happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
She
Oh,
remembers
yeah.
it.
Now it makes sense why they zapped your brain because they were afraid of things you saw.
Yeah.
They would zap
They
your
were
brain
scared
today.
of you. Like, yeah, when people, like, back then, like
Ye-
the witches, like she just brought up, when they, like, saw things and did things like this, they were scared of you. So they were like, nope, we're going to electroshock you, we're going to lobotomy
So
you,
they
we're
did
gonna
that to
burn you.
Sally. Isn't that crazy
Wow,
as
I
a
didn't
kid?
know that.
They also did it to
She
Carrie
got
Fisher.
electroshock therapy. Because she saw things.
I was like,
As
Yeah,
a
so
child.
I'll clarify
They
for
didn't
you.
lobotomy. No, but she had that
No, they didn't have, they stopped that.
the electric shock therapy. Yeah.
I was like,
And
I
she
don't know
would
when
go
they
to-
stopped
She went to
lobotomies.
the hospital and they would
They
give
still
her
do
these
it.
treatments.
They still
No.
do it to slow
I know.
down.
They don't do lobotomies anymore.
Not lobotomies,
form of treatment.
but they do it, yes,
Absolutely.
because they want to slow down aggressive behavior.
Well, yeah, a shock therapy they do.
Yeah.
I'm talking about lobotomies.
Yeah.
No, not
It's like
lobotomy.
it's a form of conditioning.
Late 1950s, they stopped lobotomies, guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
That's what I thought. I was
I-
like, late
in public.
1950s. My
They
grandma
stopped
was
it in
born
public.
1950.
Well, no, you went to appointments or just staying outside during a thunderstorm. It's the same thing.
So I got a question. The question of the day. So you're in a networking party or something else, and somebody comes up, and they're being very negative. What's the right word? And they're being obnoxious and bullyish towards people.
In general or towards you?
No, towards people.
Okay.
And it doesn't turn on you yet, but you notice it. What do you do?
Is he like this person who's like really influential? Or,
Does
like-
it matter?
Well, that's a good point. That's actually a good point. I just think that eventually they would turn on you as soon as they see something wrong with you.
Right.
Yeah.
So what would you do?
I would try to. Well, the first thing is you don't address it to them directly because they're just gonna turn on you right away, and it'll just make it worse for everyone too.
So do you avoid that person in this room,
I
or
have
do
to
you?
avoid that person?
So you don't confront them.
No, well, obviously, everyone knows they're shitty. They're gonna push the people away themselves.
That's why I remove myself from
She
the
said shitty.
equation.
She did.
Sorry for swearing. Pardon my friends, as you said.
Well, we can always
I
change
love
that
Alex.
temper.
She just says what it is.
But what would you do?
I'm a confrontational person.
Are you?
So you would go right at the person?
I mean, if they disrespect me in any type
No,
of
not yet. You see, that's what makes this a question.
They're disrespecting
easier.
others. Is it your problem if they're disrespecting other
Is it?
people? That's what
Not
I'm
necessarily, because everybody has a voice, and if you just haven't found your voice yet, then this might be the right time for you to find your voice. Now, if you're doing something like super obnoxious and like you're just being a bigot,
I feel like
I'm
hurting
going to
people
correct
physically.
it.
Yeah, 100%. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say something.
But if you're like being
Would
a
you
bigot,
confront them?
I'm gonna say something like, "Hey, that's not cool. Don't bring that type of behavior over here, especially."
So you would
like
confront
this.
them,
Yeah,
even though they weren't talking to you,
yeah,
and talking to other people.
yeah, because it's
Okay.
wrong.
Okay. all right.
I feel like they'll do the damage. As for me, I feel like they do the damage themselves. So there's no need to confront them.
But they don't have any account. Okay, so there's the next question. Do you say anything, or do you let karma, if you believe in karma, deal with it?
I am their karma.
So you would confront them.
Lay down the
I
smack.
like that.
Yeah.
What
I
would
like
you do?
that.
Simple.
Hold up your mic.
Put them in their place and then walk away.
First of all, you would not confront them.
No, they would
I don't see you
eventually
doing
learn from their actions.
Exactly.
So you
And
wouldn't confront
know
them either.
that bullies and people who are mean to people will always suffer the consequences of their own actions at one point or another.
So you
just
won't
let
confront
time
them?
do its thing.
It's like-
Let
Actions always have consequences.
No, I understand
Yes,
all that. I
they
get
do.
it. But would you confront them?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I
I've
would
never been in
say,
that
look,
situation.
if you don't change
I'm
your
a-
ways,
I'm a-
it's going to come back
Those
on
kind
you.
of people, they want a reaction.
That's why they do it.
Yeah, because they're
They're
insecure
button
and they want.
pushers.
Yeah.
Well, what about you, Professor, Mr. Quiet Man? What would you do?
Lean in, whisper, nobody cares what you think, and then walk away.
Okay.
So you would say something.
Yeah,
It would be.
a surgical strike at
Yeah.
that ego.
You would calculate your strike. You
Oh,
would
yeah.
wait for your opportunity. Like when he's going to the bathroom, lock him in there and make sure he never gets out.
No, not like that.
Oh, okay.
Just smother them and then like.
I would find the right words to be the lesson that needs to be learned.
How about you, Layla?
I think so.
You think so? What?
I'm
You would say something?
Grab that mic so we can hear you. You can take it off the stand.
this is like an at work thing.
The networking
It's
party,
just a
he said.
networking
Or in
Anyway,
general.
Is this someone I work with?
No, this is just a person that's there.
This is a
Strangers?
hypothetical.
Strangers?
This
stranger.
is a stranger to
Strangers.
me. Like this isn't like
know them.
Heather being like mean to
No,
Michael.
no. With Heather, it's easy because you're going to tell Heather, "Come here, let me talk to you." I'm talking about in general.
This-
never saw
everyone's
this
a
guy
stranger,
before.
yeah.
Yeah.
It would really depend on like what the situation was.
What was truly happening? Like, the severity
if
of
it was something like
You would
really,
size it
like
up first.
unacceptable, then like
Yeah,
okay,
like,
yeah,
if-
like okay, let's like take a time out. Let's go for a
They're
walk.
being like offensive to this
okay.
You're
person.
disrupting.
But
Yeah.
you don't know him.
I don't care if you're being like a blatantly horrible human being to
So
other
you're
people
gonna say that
for
to them.
no
Okay.
reason,
Alright.
and it's like, because I do believe in life there are some things that are like none of other people's business and you shouldn't get involved in, but like, I also think there are some things where like you can be like, okay, you don't need to be doing all of that. Let's just
If
like,
they're like disrupting everything,
yeah,
maybe you should say something.
yeah, or if it's just like something like you were like if they were like being a bigot or something, like something along those lines, like we're not we're not even like letting a second of that happen and like being okay with it and just sitting there. But then you don't have to entertain anything after that. Say your piece, leave, and then let karma do the rest. You know what I mean?
You believe in karma, Freddie?
No,
I don't think you do.
I don't. That's okay.
So what do you think? You think you should say something, or you just let
Well,
it be?
I would definitely.
Or you
point-
would definitely say something.
But I would do it strategically, like Professor says. I'll entertain the conversation and maybe agree with the person up to a point and says, you're really, really stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen you call people out over a lot of things. And then there are things that upset me, and you go, just let it go. And I'm thinking, but why? You wouldn't let that go, but you let this go.
Because I sort of wait until there's a reason, and then we go for it. Sometimes.
But when you go for it, it's like, boom.
Oh, I never said that I was nice.
Bronx 'em.
He Bronx them, I bougie them. I don't know.
I don't
I
even say
kind
that.
of skirt around it. You might Bronx them, she says.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line here is you get what you give, right? So now there's also if
There is a person
somebody
in
says
there. No, I know.
something. Did you
I
hear?
remembered for a sec.
Did you hear that?
I was like, okay, guys.
Did you hear that?
Y'all heard that too, right?
If,
Yes.
now, if
What
I'm
was that?
Christians in there.
Yeah, someone's moving a chair.
It's like, wow,
We
great
just-
timing, I guess, for the conversation we had today.
we were just talking about the ghosts. in the
Ghosts.
studio.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Do you see ghosts in the studio?
Do I see ghosts in the
Yeah.
studio?
Do you hear them? Do you see them? Do you feel them?
No.
Okay.
Not
Everybody
here.
else in here does.
Really?
I don't.
Okay,
You don't?
Yeah, I don't.
No.
But I like to think I'm someone who like notices those things. I feel like
Why?
I don't know.
I think you
Everyone
do.
likes to think.
I just like like
I think you don't want to admit
Everyone
to it, but she
can.
does.
And we
I-
all
yeah,
have that
I feel
ability
like I've
to. You
had
just have to
moments
tap
in
into
life
it.
where I have been like felt something like that, but not here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, today may be the day.
Low key want to become clairvoyant.
Yeah, like now I wish I do. Like
Be careful what you wish for,
Oh,
as
yeah.
Freddie always says, because
Very
then you
careful.
see things
Yeah,
and you don't
once-
always like what you see.
Once you tap into it, you're also allowing them to get to you.
That's fair. With that being said, I put out good juju for myself.
Yeah.
So
Good juju is good stuff. All right. Now, I want to invite everybody to tomorrow's event. You want to talk about that for under 5 minutes?
Yeah, tomorrow we're going to be at DeBilzen Art Gallery. It's 38 East Atlantic Avenue in Delray Beach. So it's pretty much on the corner of Swinton and Atlantic, right across from Old School Square. It's going to be a lot of fun. Our marketing team's going to be there. Congratulations to the Artist Loft. They are celebrating their 2-year anniversary tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So that is pretty exciting. Bill DeBilzen has an incredible line of artwork and painting and handbags and clothing for men and women. It's a beautiful space. Come on out, network, get to know each other, and see our live shows on True Oldies Radio and live streaming as well on all of our Amp Media channels and stations. It's going to be a nice night.
It is. And we have some entertainment that's going to be played in there. Apparently, we can do the singers, and we're going to have some singers, some dancers, some belly itchers, some magicians, all sorts of stuff.
So we've got the Artist Loft. They're going to be there. And then we've got All County You and Your Doctor, Making Money with Laura Sanders. And then a special edition of Brooklyn Cafe Show After Hours, where we get to interview Bill and Elena DeBilzen and talk about everything that they're doing. Bill's story is amazing. If you've gone to New York, he's got murals on buildings. He's redoing insides of hotels and lobbies. And his work just far reaches beyond the canvas. Michael, please stop doing that.
Sorry, my ears itching.
There's a restroom. You can do that. And it's amazing.
Well, the fun thing about tomorrow night, it starts, what time? 4, 5? What time does this
We're
start?
going to be there setting up at 3:30, 4 o'clock. Artist Loft starts at 5.
Okay,
So
we
we're
start
going to
at
be
5.
there till at least 8. So at least figure 5 to 8. I know some people are coming early due to traffic and parking, so that's fine.
Where is the parking? That was what I was asked.
There's parking on the street. It's Atlantic Avenue. Of course, there's always parking in the Old School Square garage, which is directly across the street.
And we're not responsible for anything of the parking nature, so don't ask me that. People were asking me if we were providing parking.
No, there's parking in the parking garage or on Atlantic. It's pay to park. It's the city of Delray Beach. All the ordinances that apply, please just do what you got to do to be there.
And so it says, do not park here, do not park there.
the
It's very
parking
simple.
garage isn't that far though.
Yeah,
It's,
it's like a block, right?
max like 2 blocks
Yeah.
away. So you're right there.
Right. So that's going to be a whole lot of fun. Come on, bring a friend. I asked the artist lot to bring some people to celebrate their. He's bringing his book, Frank's
his new book out.
He has his new book out. He's going to be bringing that as well. And all the shows. I'm thinking that You and Your Doctor, maybe they have a special guest, a doctor or Ryan from the hospital will be there to interview. We got a bunch of other different things going on, and I think it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Now, I have never been there. I didn't go with the crew for film, and they went twice, from my understanding, maybe more. I've never been there, so this is a first for me because, unfortunately, there was something else that grabbed my attention to get things done. But I am going to also be enjoying it for the first time. A lot of pictures, a lot of fun.
You're going to enjoy it? I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm going to have a great time. Also, we just want to announce that Gen X is the provider to the services we're going to be doing. There's going to be a table there with maybe some samples so that you can try the what is it? The oil fillet. Remember the oil fillet commercials?
Yes, but
Back
no,
in the
this
day?
is Gen X Beauty, GENIX Beauty. Great face cream, incredible eye cream, ladies and gentlemen of any age. And also it's great for scarring, it's great for puffy eyes, it's great for hydration. You can use it day and night, however you want to do it, but always put on your sunscreen. And there is a promo, Brooklyn 50, to get your 50% off your order. I actually have to place an order because I'm running a little bit low on my face cream.
Are we
I know.
going to have a table so they could do samples?
We can bring a table, absolutely.
Yeah, let's bring a table so we can do some samples.
Heather and Layla are going to be there. The next Friday, we're going to be at Nova Fresh Kitchen doing a live show. And then you know what I saw on the 25th? I sent it to you. True Rumors and Spider Cherry together at Old School Square.
Really?
Yes, on a
Nobody
Friday
told
night.
me.
It's Friday night, July 25th. I want to call Eddie when we finish the morning show because I think that's going to be amazing. What a concert.
Why don't you call Old School Square?
I'm going to call Eddie. I'm going
Maybe
to
we could
call
do something
Spider
then.
Cherry and see what we can do.
Oh, maybe
Because
we
I
can
don't know who runs Old School Square. I don't know if it's the DDA. I know, remember Delray went through this. No, she has the gallery. But the amphitheater itself, I'm not sure where all that played out in the city of Delray. It's either DDA or the city of I don't know. But I thought we'll just go right to Eddie and Spider Cherry.
You
Wouldn't
guys
that be a
know
great
both, yeah.
concert?
You know,
I really, it's at 5 o'clock on Friday, July 28th. I think there's no reason we
should
can't be
go.
there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we should go. Maybe do some film work.
That's what I'm thinking. It'll be a lot of fun.
Interesting.
I know. I saw that on Eventbrite. See, it pays to go on Eventbrite because I saw you invited about 4,000 people to the event,
4,700.
and I was one of them. And then that led me to the Eventbrite, and I'm like,
Did
wow,
you
this
guys
is
get
a
an
cool
event by invitation from me? Oh, there's one missing. You? No? Oh, there's a few missing.
Well, actually, I've got something, guys, for August that you guys might like. I'm actually going to this indoor Ren fair up in Kissimmee on the 16th.
Well, good luck with that.
Well, I'll film it for you guys.
Okay, Alex. Before we wrap up, do we have an element to play?
Yes, we do.
What do we have?
I will show you.
Quit. Knock it off.
What was
That's
that?
it. It's just a dog screaming.
What happened to the magician?
The magician, remember, I couldn't get it.
She couldn't get it to download. All right, we're gonna put on the midday show. We have singers coming. We have who else do you have coming today?
I have no idea.
I know I got Dr. Schaub. We're going to be interviewing her, and some other things happening. So join us midday.
Oh, we got a new singer today.
And then tonight we got a full, oh my gosh, afternoon lineups back to back. It's going to be a busy day in the studio.
It
Eat
is.
your Wheaties, as they say.
No, I gotta take a nap.
All right, have a great morning, everyone. Stay safe. Please be kind to each other, and we will see you midday.
Don't be late.
Thank you for listening to the Brooklyn Cafe Morning Show. My mug is empty, and you know what that means.
I think it means it's time for a coffee refill.
As we prepare for other shows here at the Amp Media Production Studios.
Tune in for more fun and laughs at 12 o'clock for our afternoon show.
And remember to like, follow, and subscribe on our page.
Have a great morning, everyone. Stay safe and be kind to each other.
And don't be late.